Today, we're taking a look at what's changing in aesthetics right now, from AI and online clinic discovery to patient trust and the rise of regenerative treatments. Because patients are researching differently, skepticism is higher, and clinics now need far more than good marketing to stand out. So let's cut through the hype and look at what actually builds visibility, credibility, and patient trust in 2026. Joining me for the conversation is Kostas Alekoglu, founder of Digital Aesthetics and one of the leading experts in aesthetic clinic marketing and digital strategy in the UK. Hello, Kostas. How are you?
Nice to be here.
So every clinic wants to be found online, but in a world where patients are using Google, Instagram, TikTok, and AI tools to research treatments, how does a clinic make sure that it's not just visible, but recommended as well?
Yeah, so there are many different factors that influence how AI perceives a business and it recommends it. At the heart of it is reputation, and reputation can translate into many different things such as authority, which contains things such as reviews, forum mentions, anything really that's ever said about the business, the AI can get to it. So apart from that, then there are many other factors that contribute in a clinic to be found these days, and they contain a mix of credentials, so how experienced people are, and then how long they've been in the market for.
That must make a big difference, the time the clinic's been there.
Yes, because you build up reputation over time. Reputation is not something that's built overnight, and that's something that clinics really need to be aware of.
How has the way patients search for aesthetic treatments in clinics changed over the last few years since AI?
So what we are seeing right now is a few different trends. One of the trends is that people are recommending practitioners to other people less. That is a side effect of the natural beauty movement, because natural beauty means you don't tell other people you had something done. If you don't tell them...
Not me, I like to tell everyone.
Maybe you, but not everybody, but many people now, they don't say that they had something done. And that means less referrals to practitioners.
Right.
We've also seen a reduction in the influence of influencers in social media. So there's less people following blindly what influencers suggest. So that's been also a major change. So yeah, consumers are moving towards a slightly different direction now.
So are they still using Google mainly, or is it more they're using AI tools, ChatGPT?
Yes, Google prevails still. There's also a mix of social media in there. Google generates by far the majority of the inquiries. However, we are seeing now a rise in AI recommendations. We're seeing about 3% direct recommendations coming from AI, but we estimate the total effect to be nearer the 15 to 20%. And that is a very significant thing, because that means 1/5 of all inquiries are now coming to clinics from influenced by AI, not necessarily directly, but influenced by AI, meaning somebody can have a conversation with AI, see what they prefer as a clinic, then go to Google or go to social media and find a way to get in touch with that clinic.
Right. What does it actually mean for a clinic to be recommended by AI?
What it means is that somebody goes to the AI and asks, a very specific question, which is, potentially about a location or a treatment, and, they're inquiring to see what fits best to them. So as soon as the AI receives the question, it provides an answer. So the answer can be just text, or it can be a link. When somebody clicks on that link, that's how they end up on the clinic website, and that's how the whole transition takes place. So this is the sort of the mechanism. But there are other pathways, like I said before, where somebody can just have a discussion with AI and then later use a social media platform or Google to find the website and then interact with it.
I see. And is it surely it's location based as well, right? AI is going to ask you where you are, so you're still getting recommended for your area.
No, AI right now is doesn't work exactly like that. There is a certain level of geolocation. So if you usually ask it, what is the best clinic for this, it will recognize that you're in the UK and will mention UK clinics, but it doesn't work exactly like Google yet. I mean, it constantly
Right.
evolves, so that might be a feature that comes sort of harder in the future, but it's usually driven by the question. And I guess if you don't specify, it guesses your location by, where you're accessing the site from and
Yeah.
so forth.
If a patient asks AI for the best clinic for a certain treatment, what signals might influence the answer?
Now, this is where it gets a little bit hard because there are so many signals. So we mentioned before things such as reviews, and they are, very important these days. We
Are these reviews on Google?
They can be on Google, they can also be on other sites. Then there is, as I said before, things such as forum mentions of the brand. There is obviously the brand website, the clinic website, and what it contains, which is increasingly more important for AI. There are external sources which
Social media?
are being overlooked. Social media, everything that's posted on social media counts in right now as part of the AI. And it's not just about what you're posting, what treatment that you're posting, but it's how you're posting it so that you create a certain sentiment or certain perception about your business. So the things you emphasize in those posts is how the AI judges you.
So it's so important what you're putting on on Instagram.
It's now important. What we now do at Digital Aesthetics is we run everything through a filter, which means that everything that we post now, we do it in mind of how will the AI perceive this, how will it sort of take it into consideration, and
Interesting.
how will that push us up the recommendation rankings when somebody asks.
That is so interesting. Do you think that many clinics know about that? That's what they should be doing.
I think everybody is suspecting that the AI is starting to grab a share, but I don't think they know the details of what exactly they need to be doing. And I think most people are pretty lost because, I mean, they keep hearing all this fuss about the AI, but there's so much conflicting information out there right now that it's difficult to make out what's going on. But I think the most up-to-date clinic owners, they can see it coming, and they're asking for marketing services to sort of to get ahead.
And this is what you guys do.
Absolutely. I mean, we jumped on the AI as soon as it was released in the UK, and we have been optimizing all of our client websites for AI recommendations since day one. So yeah, we need to stay ahead. That's our job. If we don't, then our clients stay behind, and we can't just afford that.
Okay, so the practical marketing implements. Are generic treatment pages losing effectiveness? This is a big question as well, because I think as a patient going onto a clinic website, this is a very confusing thing for most people.
I would say certainly not. The treatment pages are still critical both for users and for the AI to understand in depth what the offering exactly is. So no, these pages are still critical. I mean, if anything, the AI wants a lot more information than the search engines did. And in that respect, I don't think anybody should be thinking about pulling back on content right now.
Right.
The opposite.
And how important is expert-led content?
I mean, Google made it important because it added it as a ranking factor, but I think the AI now has a much deeper and more comprehensive ability to rank this content, finding who the content creator is. The only issue I would say is that a lot of people have jumped onto using AI to create content and then attributing it to themselves, and that's absolutely fine. But if you don't add a little bit of your personal flavor in there, it's very generic, and even if it gets attributed back to you, it's not as valuable. So
Right.
it's always good to have those very specific things that a doctor or another medical practitioner really knows into that content,
Yeah.
rather than asking AI, can you please, write me an article about X?
Yeah. And do you think it's also like important that people really get out front on their social media, clinic owners and practitioners? Does that make a difference with searchability?
I mean, yes. I mean, the older generation is a little bit more skeptical getting on screen, but fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to take it, yes, we all need to do more social media. We all need to be more, in front of camera because customers expect that these days, and that's how things are.
Trust, isn't it, as well?
It does create a certain level of trust. Absolutely. Seeing somebody talk about their business, talk about, their skills, it convinces them far more than just reading a webpage.
Yeah. Do you advise the clinics that you look after and all the people you look after, do you advise them on this sort of thing?
Yes, I mean we try to encourage them as much as possible to produce, high quality content, not just any content because that's relatively easy, but we stand with them all across the way. I mean, sometimes even filming, but most times our work is strategic and conceptual. What are the hot things to talk about? At the end of the day, it's always the medical professional and the doctor that can really add the value because they have the in-depth knowledge of what the treatment entails and what it can achieve.
Yeah. What role do reviews play in search visibility and AI-led discovery?
In search visibility, I wouldn't say they're too important because I mean Google, yes, factors them in as a component, but I don't think it's that high in the calculation. But when it comes to conversion, that's another story because
Right.
people these days they want to see reviews, otherwise they are very skeptical about interacting with the business. So it's a real catch 22 these days. How do you start with nothing and then despite that get booking? So those are the huge challenges that are facing new clinics
New
right now.
clinics, yeah. How important is Google Business Profile for local clinic discovery?
I mean, it's always very good to have a Google business profile optimized, but some people overestimate its sort of power, and a lot of businesses think, okay, we need to update this every week. You need to have a really good profile. You need to have it very well optimized, but constantly updating and doing other things to it. It's not usually that beneficial
Right.
for the SEO process, and it's certainly not something that the AI looks at, very significantly too. So yes, in having something, well looked after, but I wouldn't obsess over it because there's so many other things to be doing in this day and age of AI.
Totally. Can a small clinic outperform a bigger competitor if its website is clearer, more specific, and more authoritative?
Thank God, yes, still. That's still possible. Clever marketing and, advanced strategies and, understanding what your shortcomings are in the beginning when the clinic is still like a very young business is very important. And yes, I have seen this again and again. New entrants that get things right from the beginning, they manage to compete fast and a lot of the times, overcome long-standing competitors because they just have this fresh take on things. So yes, it's still very, very possible. We're actually doing it every day.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great news. Should clinics be creating more FAQs, comparison pages, suitability pages, and doctor-authored explainers?
Clinics should be creating more of everything. It's very difficult to sort of prioritize. It depends on the situation and what the objective is at the time. But yes, they need to be creating a lot more content, and also all of this content has to be created with AI in mind. So if you're not monitoring what the AI thinks of your business, then you don't know what to change or what to say exactly to change the mind of how the AI thinks about you. Because if the AI thinks about you in a certain way and you don't do a perception campaign, then nothing's going to change. You're not going to be recommended above somebody else who might not be as a good a professional as you or offering a substandard service, but has such perception that the AI would always recommend it over your business.
God, it's so much more than SEO optimization, isn't it now?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at what you need to do for the AI, it's a lot more than we had to do for SEO. I mean, a lot of people say actually it's just SEO. It's not. It's SEO times 10.
I can imagine. Like everything has changed, hasn't it? In the last, how many years has it been? Like a couple, isn't
Two and a
it?
half years now, and it feels
Yeah.
like 20
Yeah.
that the AI has been around for, and still we're still at very very early stages of the process.
Is it completely different to how you were marketing clinics, say, 2 years ago, 5 years ago?
Well, I mean, 5 years ago, yes, because without the AI, again, your route to discovery was always either Google or social media or a friend or something else like that. But that's been the case since 2007 when we got going. Things have been changing all the time, and the ability to adapt and stay, on top of it and stay relevant, like jumping onto AI optimization as soon as kicked off around 2.5 years ago, that's what's kept us
That's
in
key.
business.
Yeah, totally. What clinics should do next? What should clinics be tracking beyond traffic and inquiries?
So the key metrics of the future, I would say, is sentiment, brand sentiment, brand perception. It's referrals from AI, and it's also monitoring AI searches and seeing how often your business appears and at what positions. So all of these things now are going to overtake. Why? Because simply AI is going to be driving a lot of traffic.
So that's literally all AI related, isn't it? What you just
Yeah,
what you just
well,
said.
I mean, sentiment was always like a marketing metric in brand perception, but now it's AI sentiment, AI brand perception. It's not necessarily how the majority thinks about a business in this given time, it's how the AI thinks about the business. And if the AI does not think highly about your clinic, it's not going to recommend it. And that's what we're trying to solve.
Could AI traffic convert better because patients are further along in their decision-making process by the time they click?
Well, we don't have to guess that, we know that. We've seen that from the statistics already that AI converts a lot better than search. And there are
Google search compared to Google search,
yes,
right?
there are two main reasons why that is. One is blindly trusting the AI. You ask what is the best clinic in that area. It gives you, 5 results. You click immediately on the top one and off you go. That's typical behavior that we also see in Google Ads sometimes. Then there is the other path, which is you're having a very long discussion with the AI. You say first you start with what is the best clinic for this in my area. Then when it gives you 3 or 4 options, you start narrowing down to how you are as a person. I'm a little bit scared. I've never been to an aesthetic clinic before. Whatever information you give it, it will adjust the recommendation for you. And it will end up with the perfect clinic for you. Now, if that's the case, if you spend so much time investing in trying to, discovering this, then when you actually go to the clinic, it's like somebody's, sold to you already. It's like you sat with a, with a, with a consultant for 30 minutes and, having a chat. So
Yeah.
in that respect, both the sort of the visitor to inquiry rate is very, very high, but also the inquiry to booking rate is very high because the user is already convinced that they have zoomed in on the perfect place with the help of artificial intelligence.
Super helpful for the clinic.
Yeah.
And how should clinics prepare their websites for AI-driven discovery?
That's again another, very, very big question that has multiple aspects to it, multiple ways to answer it. There are so many different sections on websites these days that need to be changed or need to be enhanced to be AI friendly. And it starts from things such as the homepage and it moves to things such as the contact pages, the about, everything, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what we're doing right now. We're reconstructing and rethinking everything that we've done before in light of AI and making sure that AI has all the information that it needs. And many times this is also beneficial for the users because the users, when they ask questions, sometimes they go so deep, there is just no available answer. And if there is no answer, we know what the AI does. It, dreams up one. It sort of hallucinates. It guesses. So if we supply that content and then we minimize the guesswork and then we maximize the possibility of getting that customer to us.
So you must be constantly updating your clients' websites.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, with the most successful clients, the website is a living, breathing organism.
Yeah.
It's something that you tend to every day. If you don't, it sort of shrivels and
Yeah.
dies. So, yes, we are very, very active on the website.
And so what would you tell a clinic that still treats its website like a brochure?
That's like so 1985, I mean, no, that's really, I mean, we did that in the 2000 era. You could have a clinic that just simply, gets leads from somewhere, a referral from other, businesses, from social media, from something, and they don't, they might not be looking at their website seriously, but the loss of opportunity is huge.
Yeah.
Because if you have a well-constructed website, then whatever business you have, you can have so much more on top because you can attract a lot more from online. So for me, a brochure website this day and age, it's like really a Paleolithic way to market your business. I would say to anybody who still has a brochure website, just do a redesign, have a proper structure, and you'll see how fast you will get rewarded with more business and, different business as well. Depending on how you design your website, you can really change the perception of people that come to you.
It is, as a patient, it is quite confusing going to a website. The clearer it is, the better.
Yeah, I mean, and how do you relate to a website that's messy, very poorly looked
confusing as
after, but behind it, there's supposed to be a premium business. These two things,
Yeah.
don't relate.
Yeah, it's quite a confusing topic anyway. Okay, quick fire closer. One SEO task every clinic should do immediately.
Make sure they have tracking in place. One of the, and I mean, I would say even more basic than that, have their passwords. Most clinics, they don't have the password to their domain, to their hosting. There's this business in the other end of the world that actually holds all of that, and it's so scary. So let's forget about SEO for a moment and think about security. That's the one thing I would recommend. Get your passwords in order. Make sure you control your website, you control your hosting, you control your domain. Because otherwise somebody else controls your future.
Scary. One AI optimization mistake clinics should avoid.
I think most clinics right now think that the only place they have to make changes in is their website. That is that's wrong, because there are so many other sources that the AI gets information from that just simply by updating. I know that right now this works, but not for very long. So they need to be thinking about their content spreading everywhere, not just appear on their website.
Most underrated page on a clinic website.
The About page, 100%. People just don't comprehend how critical it is.
Why is it critical?
Because we notice that people go there before they convert. And any page that any user visits just before they convert, to me, it's absolutely critical to get it right. And the worst thing about pages, they are unpersonalized. The amount of generic about pages that I read is unbelievable. I mean, this is where you need to pour out your soul.
It's important property.
And people just, write general stuff. There's no history of the business. There's no reason there why it started in the first. There's very little about the character, about the soul of that entity. And I mean, I think you miss a lot there, because that's the place where you can really connect with people.
It's true. I go there first. Go straight there. Yeah.
Who on earth are these people? That's what the About page is all about.
Exactly. Reviews, content, or backlinks, which matters most?
All of them matter, but I would say if you don't have content, you can't have anything else. So content is king for that reason. So yeah, I would say content first, and then reviews are absolutely critical. You can't get conversions without reviews.
Yeah.
And the backlinks are also absolutely critical, because then you can't get any SEO traffic or any AI mentions. So yeah,
Will AI replace Google for clinic research?
probably yes, to a huge extent. And obviously, we know that Google is going to be in there too, but yes, in a few years' time, it's very possible that the vast majority of recommendations start with an LLM.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kostas, for all of your insights on the new AI-driven marketing for clinics.
It was a pleasure being here. Thank you very much, Gabrielle.
Thank you.